Hi, this is Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and we are specifically going to talk about Strixhaven 5th Edition, so Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and Strixhaven, and a fantastic idea if you're running a wizard in a non-Strixhaven campaign in Faerun, Eberron, Ravnica, Theros, any of the canon 5th edition resonant settings. Okay, so I got a great idea for you, and I got two, and this has two prongs to it. All right, so first of all, if you're running a wizard, you now, since Strixhaven has come out, you can say, "Hey, I'm a Faerun wizard. I would like to claim my Strixhaven Lorehold background." And what does that mean? All right, so first of all, you have a wizard. You're in an ongoing campaign, right? And as a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition player, you have every right to say to your dungeon master, "Hey, Gate exists in this world. Gate exists in Strixhaven. There are thousands of wizards on this world. There are thousands of wizards on Strixhaven. These two worlds are connected. I would like to proclaim now that my wizard, who's 7th level, of course, attended Strixhaven. And I would like to claim my Strixhaven background in addition to my regular background," right? And your of course, your dungeon master, like on page 4, they're in charge, not the rules. And if they're cool, and they're a wonderful Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign, which is synonymous, super cool dungeon master and 5th edition dungeon master are synonymous, they're highly likely to say, "Yes, absolutely. I'm very excited about that." And then you can hit them with the 1-2 punch, right? You'd be like, "I don't have the book. Can you pick it up this weekend, Dungeon Master?" Right? You're like, "Wait a second, Scott. Me as a player should ask my Dungeon Master to buy a book I don't have so I can add a background to my character?" Yes, you can, and you should. All right. So hear me out. All right. So first of all, if your dungeon master is clearly poor, don't do this. Like, if they ain't got a lot of cheddar, don't do this. Okay. But the reality is, any single one of my players could absolutely say, "Hey, I want you to get this book so I could do this thing in your campaign for me, and I want the dollars to come out of your pocket," right? And I would be delighted. And the reason why is because I really, really, really like dungeon mastering, and I am incredibly excited when my players, are engaged, right? And the reality is, I could pick this book up for like $30 on Amazon, right? That is nothing to me. And here's why. I spend 3 hours a week getting prepped for the game minimum, right? Do you know what 1 hour worth of my labor is worth? A lot more than $30. I'll tell you that right now, right? All right, so that's the issue. Is for the vast majority of dungeon masters, they got cheddar, right? There ain't a whole lot of 5th edition dungeon masters knocking around and like, "Oh, I've read like 7,000 pages of canon because that's what's in the game right now, and I make dirt," right? It doesn't really happen. I think at the macro level, I'm convinced the vast majority of 5th edition dungeon masters have multiple degrees, right? I think that's a fact, right? We just don't have the numbers, but I'm convinced. I know for a fact, because I got some in my comments, that there are absolutely exceptions to this rule, but the vast majority, I mean, if you got a game that takes 750 pages of reading to start, those people are going to be educated. They're going to have at least a college degree. And frankly, if they're making a college degree, $30 is nothing. Even the $50 at their retail is nothing, right? Now, why should you be able to ask your dungeon master, right, to get you the Strixhaven book? Well, here's the thing. Your time is valuable. You are giving 2 to 4 hours a week to them. And your time is worth way more than $30, right? So once a year, you shouldn't be doing this every 3 months, but once a year, I think every single Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition player has the right to ask their dungeon master to get a book for them, and so that they can increase their build, right? And this is even more important because if you go out and you're a player and you buy Strixhaven on your own, and then your dungeon master says no, right? Then you're out $50. So I think that means that 5th edition dungeon players have every right once a year, if their dungeon master's got some cheddar, which most do, right, according to my count, right, like my local count, ain't nobody in my game sweating $50. I'll tell you that right now, right? And I think most tables are like this. I really do. There are, of course, there are exceptions, and we should do what we can to help them, right? But that's the reality of it. And also, if you think I'm wrong, take a look at the backgrounds on some of these D&D commentators. They got $10,000-$15,000 collections. If you're a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition player, do not sweat asking your dungeon master for a book. And when they say no, okay, just, it's a good exchange, right? We should put some pressure on dungeon masters every now and then as players. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.